Hello, and welcome to the final edition of Urban Plains TV. My name's Kale.
And I'm Abby, and we're your hosts for today's show.
We want to start the show by thanking everyone who's worked incredibly hard on the show throughout the semester. We're looking forward to bringing you stories one last time.
Ahead today, we have Eleanor Grace, an emerging Des Moines artist, to perform her new single, Lighthouse, in studio. We'll also have an interview with journalist Lisa Ling and take a look inside the historic town of Nauvoo, Illinois.
Later in the show, we hope to find the best cheese curds in Des Moines, talk to the clubhouse manager of the Iowa Cubs, and find out why some people love pizza that comes from a gas station. Let's jump into the show.
Lisa Ling is an award-winning journalist and television host. Her current show, This Is Life, which airs on CNN, has taken her all over America and the world. She has covered some very important stories over the past 2 decades and recently visited Drake University as the speaker for Drake's Bucksbaum Lecture Series. During her visit to Iowa, Urban Plains staffer Katie O'Keefe sat down with Ling and interviewed her about her career and some of the most important stories she's covered, specifically in the Midwest.
TV was always on in my home. It was kind of my favorite babysitter. And I really thought, like, if I could get a job on TV, maybe I could have a better life one day. But at the time, there was no one who looked anything like me.
On April 11th, accredited CNN journalist Lisa Ling traveled to Des Moines, Iowa to present the 40th annual Bucksbaum Lecture at Drake University. Prior to speaking, Ling met with Drake students to discuss her professional career and being a female in a typically male-dominated industry.
If you ask any female journalist of my generation, they will probably tell you that they went into journalism for the same reasons I did. You know, everyone wanted to be the next Connie Chung because she was the only Asian person on the national stage.
Students asked a wide array of questions revolving around her global travels, specifically within North Korea as an undercover journalist, and why she enjoys coming to the Midwest to tell stories of the heartland.
And I think that it would serve the media well to embed more throughout the Midwest and in the heartland, because I think that we would get a far better sense of the pulse of this country.
A large amount of time was dedicated towards discussing the fake news era and how news stations currently present political journalism.
These days, as far as broadcast media is concerned, you know, our highest rated shows, or the shows that most networks are producing, consists of right-wing conservatives and ardent liberals, and they allow each other to fight it out, and they call that news, rather than, you know, seeking out stories of people who are living in the middle of the country, and really trying to figure out what the needs are and what people are thinking in this region in particular.
Ling wrapped up her Q&A session by giving advice and inspiration to students who are seeking a career within the journalism industry.
Big thanks to Lisa Ling for taking the time to talk with us at Urban Plains, and to Drake University for helping set things up. I'm sure it's something we will never forget. Another thing I'll never forget is the first time I tried Casey's Pizza. When I first arrived in Iowa, I was shocked to find out that everyone's favorite pizza came from a gas station. I was skeptical until I tried it. In this new edition of Midwest Digest, content producer Nick McGlynn attempts to figure out what it is about Casey's Pizza that just makes it so good.
When people say they want to go out for pizza, they usually imagine a place like this, and not a place like here. As a Wisconsinite, I was pretty skeptical about the whole gas station pizza thing, so I thought I'd ask some people who were familiar and try to figure out the hype around Casey's General Store. So, could you tell us where you're from?
I'm from Dubuque, Iowa.
Johnston, Iowa.
I'm from Lincoln, Nebraska.
I'm from Des Moines, Iowa.
Nevada.
I was born in Mexico but live in Iowa.
Minneapolis, Minnesota.
Dallas, Texas. We're from New Prague, Minnesota.
Tell us where you're from.
Kansas City.
Kansas City. Are you sure? How many times have you had Casey's Pizza before?
Probably like 10 or 15 times.
When we were in high school, we used to have it like once a week, I would say.
Several times a month.
You know, growing up in Iowa, it'd be a pretty frequent occurrence. If we're getting pizza, a decent amount of the time, probably like 40% would be for Casey's. So.
I've only had it once.
How was it?
It was actually really good. Better than what I was expecting from a gas station. Like, I would have never ordered pizza from a gas station before, but it was all right.
I thought it was pretty dope. I liked it.
I'm definitely going to have it again sometime soon.
I take it you like it.
I love it.
I like it. It's nice and clean.
The place or the pizza?
Both, I guess.
The breakfast pizza was very good.
Casey's breakfast pizza is the only breakfast pizza people should eat.
They have the best breakfast pizza in the world.
Best breakfast pizza in the world. And it doesn't bother you at all that it's coming from a gas station.
No.
It's nice and cheesy, and I like cheese and sausage a lot, so it has a good twang to it.
I think the breakfast pizza and the taco pizza are outstanding. They're some of the best.
Doesn't bother you that it's coming from a gas station?
Not at all.
Or like exceeds expectations.
It exceeds expectation for a gas station. Is that bar really that high?
No. It's not high, but like they really exceed it.
You know, I was a little skeptical at first, but after I pounded a few drinks down, I went for it, and wow, it was worth it.
What would you say, like a scale of 1 to 10?
Probably like an 8.
A 7.
Probably like a 6.5.
I'd say it's a solid 7. Solid 7.
I'd probably give it a 6.8.
8. Yeah, 8, 7 or 8.
7?
Like a strong 8.2.
I'd say it's a 9. I'd give it a definite 7 in terms of overall pizza, but for gas station pizza, definitely a 10.
Probably about a 12.
A 12 out of 10. It's that good.
It's that good.
7.75. I mean, it tasted like a 9, but I think that was just the alcohol talking.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Have a good day now. Go Bulldogs.
Now I definitely feel like I should try this pizza. On the subject of trying new things, Urban Plains content producer Jacob Reynolds recently visited the small town of Nauvoo, Illinois to discover its rich history. Nauvoo is home to the Hotel Nauvoo, which hosts a unique dining experience, the Joseph Smith Historic Site, Baxter's Winery, and the Nauvoo Temple. Reynolds talked to several residents to find out what makes this town so special.
In the sleepy town of Nauvoo, Illinois, located right across the Mississippi River, one will see many old buildings that seem to come right from the mid-19th century. Old brick foundations, wooden schoolhouses, and horse carriage stations. Why is this? The main catalyst of this is because Nauvoo was one of the original stations for the Church of Latter-day Saints and founder Joseph Smith back in the 1830s and 1840s. And impressive preservation allowed the town to appreciate this past. However, the followers of Joseph Smith were driven off the land, which led to the exodus of a large amount of people. Sharon Nickel, president of the Nauvoo Area Chamber of Commerce, explains.
This population of about 12,000 rivaled the size of Chicago. So in the state of Illinois, it should be a bigger deal, I would think. The fact that this little Nauvoo now used to be a huge rival to Chicago.
This exodus led to a new group of people arriving in the area, though.
When land agents were trying to sell the land in Nauvoo, they came across a group of people that were not a religious group, but it was a socialistic group, the Icarians. They were pretty much following the ideas put forth by this Etienne Cabet in Voyage to Icaria. That's where they came to be known as Icarians. So they came, they actually bought the temple lot. Unfortunately, though, their movement only lasted about 6 years, too.
One of the places that keeps this tradition of the Icarians alive is Baxter's Vineyard and Winery. Baxter family originally moved with the Icarian community and decided to stay in the area, which led them to create a winery. Kelly and Brenda Logan are the owners to keep the vineyard tradition going on today.
Nauvoo was found to be very a good grape growing or fruit area right here on the left of the Mississippi. Just when you're by a body of water that creates a microclimate for you, and it doesn't get quite as cold in here as it will on into the inland. And I don't know, the Baxters just come here and settled and started growing fruit, and there was a lot of people growing fruit before Prohibition.
After the Icarians left, a large population of Germans moved into town.
German was the primary language in Nauvoo until World War I. That's how big of a German population they had here in Nauvoo. So each of them were kind of what I like to say as a thread in that wonderful, beautiful tapestry that all makes up our history.
Hotel Nauvoo is a remnant of this period of the town's history. The original building was constructed in 1841. Krause family bought the residence in 1946. There they continued to keep the area a special place with a deep sense of history. Debbie Allen helps run the hotel and its dining options today.
They created this room to make it look like an outdoor scene. And my brother and I inherited it about 35 years ago when they passed away. And so we continue to try to do everything just right, as excellent as we can, so that the customer gets a good quality product. And mostly just, it's not just going out to dinner at McDonald's, it's an evening and it's with family and friends.
While history plays a large part of Nauvoo's attraction, Nichols says it's not the only appreciated part of the town.
It's funny because I was in meetings last year in Quincy, which is about an hour away, and when I introduced myself and said I was from Nauvoo, oh yeah, we've been to the buffet. We go a couple of times a year, and I'm like, so have you ever been to historic Nauvoo then? And they looked at me like, what are you talking about?
Also hoping to make history, we had 15-year-old Eleanor Grace from Station 1 Records stop by studio earlier to perform her new single, Lighthouse. Eleanor is from Des Moines and writes all of her own music. Her new single is releasing today. Keep an eye out for Eleanor later this summer. In June and July, she'll be releasing another single and several music videos, followed by the release of her EP in August. If you want to check Eleanor out live, she'll be playing 8035 Saturday, July 13th on the Gen Z stage at 6:15. The show is free. This is Eleanor Grace.
My name is Eleanor Grace, and this is Lighthouse. It's late at night, the camera starting to fade straight out of the Parker's painted head, and I feel alright, but damn, you're jaded like you've been
Lighthouse is available anywhere you can stream music, so check it out now. Baseball is America's pastime, and nothing beats summer nights out in the ballpark. From Little League to the majors, it takes a lot of work to field a baseball team. Baseball clubs all over the Midwest are well-oiled machines, and the work that goes into having an entertaining game is never ending. Urban Plains got a chance to check out the Iowa Cubs clubhouse and talk to the clubhouse manager, Steven Seipel, about what it takes to run a professional baseball team behind the scenes.
Steven Seipel, clubhouse manager for the Iowa Cubs. Jack of all trades. Most importantly, just here to take care of the players, make sure they have everything they need, which ranges from doing the team's laundry to help providing food for before and after each game, running any errands they need taken care of, like to the post office or a random trip to Walmart for anything. Basically just supplying anything that they need to make their lives as easy as possible. You can have a player go through his 30s without, for instance, knowing how the post office works. I'm not going to name any names, but came up to me one day and he needed to return a pair of pants, and he came up to me and goes, quote unquote, "So Steve, don't make fun of me, but I don't really know how the mail works. So I need to return these pair of pants. How do we go about doing that?" It's a lot more than I would have expected back when I was just helping out. A lot of things that had never occurred to me. When I was 14, I had a family friend, and he needed help one homestand, so he asked me if I wanted to do it, and I jumped on the opportunity. It sounded like an awesome job, so I came up and helped him for a week. Then afterwards he asked if I wanted to keep doing it. I said of course, and that was 18 years ago. So now here I am, running the clubhouse myself. To be around baseball, because it was always my favorite sport, and just getting to hang out with the guys every day. Just, you get to spend all summer with them. You kind of get to build a rapport with them all, and can become close, and just getting to hang out with them all day.
There's nothing more classic and Midwestern than a baseball game. Another Midwestern staple is the fried cheese curd. While Wisconsin is the state most people think about when it comes to cheese curds, the delicious food can be found all over the Midwest. Urban Plains staff member Catherine Cheek is from Texas and had never even tried a cheese curd. That was clearly something we had to change, so a group of Urban Plains staff members took Catherine to experience deep fried cheese curds for the first time and to find the best fried cheese curds Des Moines has to offer.
1, 2, 3. Caught mine. So when you make cheese, you put your cream into a giant vat, and then there's little things that stick down into that tumble it so that it doesn't just like coagulate and rot. It's like getting aerated, and that does that for a long time. It starts to turn into little chunks. Generally you would take those chunks and squeeze them together and then let that age, and that's how you get like cheese.
Versus
instead,
cheese curds are just those little
right
chunks.
I honestly feel like it's going to be like a mozzarella stick.
Oh,
there's some pull factor. There's some pull factor.
And it smells like fried food.
Fried food. Nice. All right, hit it. Let's do it.
It's kind of hot.
Yeah.
It's definitely cheddar cheese.
Yeah.
I mean, it's good. Those are really good. They're flakier. I didn't taste the cheese as much in this one. Like the other one, when you bit into it, kind of like oozed out. This one, not as much. Kind of like burnt my hand.
And then do you like these better than the library ones?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Louis' Wine Dive.
Is there a pool of wine?
No.
Still aioli, so similar.
I feel like these look more homemade, if that makes any sense. Very similar to the last ones. But I think these are like cheesier. Like I think the breading's thinner and there's more cheese and like
Definitely
like
more
the
cheese
ratio is different.
Okay.
I feel like I should get a fatter one, but yeah, I like the other sauce better.
No.
But I think I like this curd maybe better.
Yeah. Try their merinara.
No.
These are bomb. Tell you what, for me personally, texture out of this world.
Yeah.
It's got that nice creamy center, but not all the breading is super crisp, but they've got these little bitlets. I don't know if you can zoom in on these. At the last place, these little crispy guys, these were separate. They were sprinkled on the plate. Here they are attached. And that's nice, as far as putting it into your mouth.
These are not as hard.
Not as hard.
Like, I don't know.
Nice soft curd.
I feel like it's like barely fried. Now it's like burning my finger. Yeah, it doesn't have the texture. I don't really think it has the it factor. The sauce is really good. The sauce is like most different.
It's close, but it's like not.
Yeah, it's not quite there. It's close. Full, loaded, lactose intolerant. All of those things.
So you went from eating nary a cheese curd to you've probably consumed a pound and a half of cheese curds.
Yeah. I'm expecting them to be like the first place we went to. Library. Just like not much. So far these took 30 minutes. They're very similar to the libraries. I don't really know if that means anything to anyone, but
Oh, that's a nice. No. It's kind of like what you want if you would get cheese curds in under 7 minutes, which is definitely the ideal situation.
we did not get them under 7 minutes.
We did not.
We were talking about this earlier, but like if you were just craving cheese curds, you wouldn't be able to go to some of the places that we've been to, just because they're like sit-down restaurants are just nicer in the more group setting. Where like here you can just run through the drive-thru and get cheese curds.
But here you get branded Heinz condiments, which is cool.
Who would have guessed that I would have walked in to host a show today and leave with so many new foods to try?
Well, that's all we have for this semester. I hope you've enjoyed the show and learned a little something about life in the Midwest while you were watching.
From all of us at Urban Plains, thanks for watching.